All right, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today. I want to acknowledge a number of people who you're going to hear from in just a moment, but we're joined by Congressman Joe Morelli, Rochester Mayor Malik Evans, the President and CEO of FoodLink, Julie Tedesco, Laura Gustin, the President and CEO of Together Now, Dave Seeley, the executive director of Rochester Works, and I'd also like to acknowledge Michael Udelson, the majority leader of the Monroe County Legislature, and Thalia Wright, the commissioner of the Department of Human Services. So we are here today to talk about the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP. It's a program that puts food on the table for thousands of families across our community every day. In fact, over 100,000 people in Monroe County rely on SNAP to feed their families. And, it was only a few months ago that we all stood together to address this issue, and we're back again today because the stakes are very high and the impact is becoming very real. A major change is about to take effect that will immediately impact more than 4,000 of our neighbors who rely on SNAP benefits to feed themselves and their families just next week. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we get to that number because, as I said, over 100,000 people in our community rely on SNAP benefits. And because of the new rule changes that require work or volunteer opportunities and also reduce the number of exemptions that people have relied on in the past, what happens is the 100,000 of them, 50,000 of those residents, just over 50,000, are now subject to the new rules. But of those 50,000, about 14,000 of those residents, we do not believe, according to our records, have any exemption from the new ABOD rules that are in place. Of those 14,000, just over 4,000 of them will immediately find themselves to need to be in compliance with those rules within starting next week, and will have 3 months to find themselves in compliance. So over 4,000 of the 14,000 that need to come into compliance with the rules start their clock ticking next week. And so we need to reach these folks because this is not just about a government program. This is really about hunger, stability, and dignity. So as elected officials, it's our responsibility that makes sure that nobody in our community is blindsided, and we have to ensure that our residents are informed, prepared, and empowered to ask questions, get clarity they deserve, so that what could turn into a confusing time is not confusing, but people are empowered with the information they need. So last summer, the cuts that were enacted by the federal government included a new work requirement for certain SNAP recipients. Now those rules take effect, like I said, on March 1st. These requirements apply to individuals categorized as able-bodied adults without dependents. So we otherwise call them ABODs. SNAP recipients, those are SNAP recipients between the ages of 18 and 64 who are physically and mentally able to work and do not have a child under the age of 14 in their household. So again, ABODs are SNAP recipients between the ages of 18 and 64 who are physically and mentally able to work and who do not have a child under the age of 14 in their household. So if you receive SNAP benefits, I do want you to watch your mail carefully. If you are categorized as an ABOD, you will receive a letter from the county's Department of Human Services, and that letter will clearly outline the steps that you must take to avoid losing your SNAP benefits. The mailing explains who may qualify for an exemption. So if you have an exemption from the work rule, but we don't have that exemption on file and you're not currently submitting that paperwork, it'll tell you how to do that. And it will also detail the requirements for those who are not exempt. Those requirements, if you are not exempt from the new requirements, are to work at least 20 hours per week, participate in an approved job training program, or complete approved volunteer service. Now, we've been partnering with community organizations to provide town hall meetings across the county to help walk residents through the changes and answer questions that they have. So today I'm pleased to announce 5 additional town halls that are happening across the county to ensure everyone has an opportunity to ask questions, receive the support they need. The next town halls will be this Wednesday, February 25th from 6 to 8 o'clock at the Connected Communities Neighborhood Hub. Wednesday, March 4th from 6 to 8 at the Adams Street Rec Center. Wednesday, March 11th from 6 to 8 at Greece Town Hall. and Wednesday, March 18th at the Foodlink Farm, located at 585 Lexington Avenue, and Saturday, March 28th from 2 to 4 at the Webster Recreation Center. Each town hall session is open to everyone. You don't have to live in that town or the city to attend. Whether you receive SNAP benefits yourself or if you want to help a friend, neighbor, or family member understand more about the new requirements, we encourage everyone to attend because this information is powerful. If you cannot make one of the town hall meetings, the same information is available online at our website, monroecounty.gov. There you will find the SNAP work rules screener. So if you go to monroecounty.gov, you will find the new SNAP Rules Screener. It's a simple step-by-step tool designed by Together Now, who you'll hear from in a moment. And that tool will help you quickly determine whether the new ABOD rules apply to you, and it will clearly outline the exact steps you must take to protect and maintain your benefits. Now, new SNAP work requirements mean more of our neighbors must complete volunteer and work activities to maintain their benefits. So, to meet this growing need, we also need more community-based organizations to step forward and offer those structured volunteer work experiences. So we're calling on all of our nonprofits and community-based organizations. If you need volunteers or you can create volunteer positions, please connect with Together Now so your opportunities can be added to the portal. This ensures you're matched quickly with committed individuals ready to serve and support your mission. So when you partner with Together Now, you're doing more than filling volunteer roles. You're also creating meaningful work opportunities that help put food on the table for our local families. Your outreach directly strengthens both the community and your organization. So please reach out, and we're going to make a difference working together. Now, Monroe County is fortunate to have strong community partners who are helping us spread the word and provide hands-on assistance. You're going to hear from several of these partners today. But I want to close with this. Watch your mail. Attend the town halls if you can, and importantly, use the screening tool available on our website. So I know there is some confusion out there about whether or not you are an ABOD, whether or not the exemptions apply to you or not. That screening tool on our website will walk you through exactly what your situation is. And if you don't have an exemption and you currently don't have a work or volunteer opportunity, that tool can also be used to connect you with a volunteer or work opportunity. So we're really creating that one-stop shop for everyone to give you the information you need to maintain your SNAP benefits, but it also gives you the tools to go and get that work or volunteer experience that you need in order to keep your benefits if that's what you choose to do. So use the screening tool, watch your mail, attend a town hall meeting. So ask questions, take action. We are here to help. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Congressman Joe Morelle. Thank you.
Good morning. First of all, thank you to County Executive Bello for his ongoing leadership and for outlining the changes and what they'll mean for Monroe County residents and how we're keeping residents informed, which is critically important. My thanks also to Mayor Malik Evans for his partnership and steadfast commitment to Rochester's families. Thanks to Mike Udelson and the head of Health and Human Services, Thalia Wright, Commissioner Wright. And of course, thank you to the not-for-profit leaders and service providers who work every day to support our community. And delighted to have Julia Tedesco from Foodlink, Laura Gustin from Together Now, and Dave Seeley from Rochester Works. Last year, as the county executive said, Republicans in Congress made draconian changes to the SNAP program and created new burdens for people already struggling to put food on the table. Their decisions were not about improving the program or increasing efficiency. They're determined to destroy the programs designed to help those in need, and they need it to finance tax breaks for the wealthiest Americans. It's funny, to get those tax breaks, billionaires have to do nothing. But to continue to get food through SNAP program, residents who utilize those programs are now going to be asked to do all kinds of paperwork to establish certain burdens. This is truly cruelty masquerading as policy. But and as I think the county executive said a number of times, 100,000 people in our community rely on the SNAP program. Those are veterans, seniors, parents who are working unpredictable schedules and people navigating health challenges or caregiving responsibilities. So they now face new paperwork, new reporting requirements, new hurdles to access a program that they've relied on for decades. And Republicans have asked nothing of the wealthiest Americans, but here we are. People who struggle every single day are going to be asked to do more and more and more. As I think the county executive indicated, these town halls are going to be helped to answer questions. I think it's important. People who are on these programs may not know whether or not they're the targeted group. They're the so-called able-bodied. And we're going to need, as community, to continue to talk about this, to continue to urge people to make sure that they're doing everything that they need to do in order to comply. And I could not be more proud of this community. Back when these changes were being talked about, we gathered as a group and really made it our job and our commitment and our goal to make sure that as few people are pushed off of this program as anywhere in the United States. And this community is always stepping up, always has, always will do that. I'm going to continue in Washington to reverse these harmful changes, conduct oversight to ensure eligible families are not wrongly denied, and protect nutrition and service programs that serve as a lifelong in our community. We will not accept policies that make it harder for the poorest and more vulnerable among us to access food, and we will not stop standing up for Monroe County, because access to food is a matter of dignity and stability, and we'll keep fighting to protect it. So I'm very, very grateful for everyone, and with that, I want to turn it over to my friend and a true partner and a leader in this space, the mayor of the city of Rochester, Malik Evans.
Thank you, Congressman, and thank you for all your work. I know you're headed back to Washington soon to continue to fight the good fight. Thank you, County Executive, for bringing us together. As you know, the county is the leader in this effort, and I'm so grateful to have the County Executive leading this effort, and of course to our great community partners, Together Now, Food Link, and Rochester Works. I just want to say one thing. I have actually mixed emotions standing at this podium, because I'm thinking about how ridiculous it is that local governments are being forced to do this. The hypocrisy that this is showing is something that I think should be noted by those in the community and in the media. The fact that we often talk about how we want to cut red tape, how we want to make it easier for individuals and business to be able to thrive, but yet here we are now where our county is being forced to shoulder an unfunded mandate in which they now are going to have to figure out who can eat and who cannot eat. That is not the way it should be in America, but unfortunately that is the way it has been made in this current administration. And thank God we have our congressmen and others that are pushing back on this. This should not be a political issue, but unfortunately Washington has now made SNAP a political issue. We should be making it easier to access SNAP benefits, not harder. And these new bureaucratic obstacles undermine a program that's proven itself to be both financially efficient and effective at reducing hunger. Most working age SNAP recipients are working. They are simply not earning enough to feed themselves or their families. So this solution, the solution is not to create more hurdles that require them to take unpaid time off to fill out reporting requirements or seek to qualify for one of those exceptions. And that's why both the city and county are looking to make it easy as possible for people. And that's what I want to thank our partners here for doing. So I urge those who rely on SNAP to find out what they need to do to preserve their benefits and to get help doing so as soon as possible. We live in a society where a lot of stuff is through email, through social media. Those are important. Check your email, check your social media. But the county executive has been saying for the last 6 months, check your mail. If you get something in the mail from the county related to SNAP, open it, please. And in addition to what the county is doing with its own town halls, including one last week at Ibero, the City Department of Recreation and Human Services is working with Together Now to train some of our staff to help people with the new online SNAP eligibility tool. And we have our beloved public market. I want to thank Food Link again and the Friends of the Public Market for their support that they provide to SNAP beneficiaries. We don't want anyone to go hungry. We don't want this attack on a long-time successful anti-hunger program to succeed. So if the goal is to increase workforce participation, we do better by promoting good health than by erecting bureaucratic hurdles to anyone's access to healthy food. So this is one of the moments that we are calling on everyone to stand rock solid supporting those who are suffering from food insecurity. And I know that we can count on all of you, even if, and this has been said by the county executives as well as the congressman, even if you are someone that might not depend on SNAP, but you know individuals that do, please attend these sessions, because you can become ambassadors and become gathering folks that can then give this information out to people who do rely on SNAP, because they may not be aware of these changes. So please, please take advantage of these sessions that are coming up. And with that, I'll call up Julia Tedesco, the president and CEO of FoodLink, to speak further on this topic.
Good morning, everyone. It is unfortunate we have to be here this morning, but I want to thank Congressman Morelli and our county executive and mayor for making this communication a priority. I can think of nothing more important, and I know that not every city and county is doing this kind of press conference, but I think it's, as I said, of monumental importance. I want to begin by just giving a little bit of context, and that is that FoodLink serves Monroe County and the surrounding 9 counties, and serves about 300 food pantries and meal programs. And this year we're on track to distribute more than 26 million pounds of food. That's about 21 million meals, the most we ever have in our history. And we're prepared to continue to serve, but we are stretched thin given this increased need that has sustained and the surge that we anticipate seeing. When SNAP benefits are reduced or taken away, our community feels it almost immediately, and FoodLink and the emergency food system feels it immediately. These federal cuts and changes to SNAP will impact working adults, seniors, people with disabilities, and families who are already stretched thin. SNAP is a boost to our local economy and businesses. We don't talk about that enough, but it's a major economic driver. And for many households, SNAP is the difference between stability and crisis. FoodLink and our network of food pantries and meal programs are prepared to help. We will do everything we can to respond to the increased need. But it's important to repeat what we have repeated in the past, that the emergency food system cannot replace SNAP. SNAP provides 10 times more meals than the entire emergency food system in our country combined. We can help to fill emergency gaps, but we cannot fill the entire gap left by lost federal benefits. Today, we want people to know that they are not alone in figuring this out. So I'm going to repeat some things that bear repeating, and you'll hear them again. I think they're important. The first is that all SNAP recipients should pay close attention to any mail or messages that they receive from Monroe County. They can also check the website for the New York State Office of Temporary or Disability Assistance. And for those outside of Monroe County, you can check your local county website for updates about how federal changes may affect eligibility in the coming months. Second, screen yourself. You've heard about a screening tool. You'll hear more in a moment, but there is a new SNAP work rules screener developed by Together Now, and it's at My Wayfinder, that helps SNAP recipients understand whether changes to work requirements could impact their benefits, their personal benefits. It's a helpful first step for anyone who is unsure of their status. If new work rules apply to you, there are resources, you'll hear from Rochester Works and again My Wayfinder, that can help you identify work or volunteer opportunities. And finally, if you or someone that you know needs food assistance, FoodLink's Find Food page is the best place to start. It's a single trusted resource that lists all local food pantries, meal programs, and pop-up pantries across our region. You can find it at foodlinkny.org. On the upper right-hand corner, there is a Find Food button. You click on it, you can put in your zip code, and you can find these resources in your neighborhood. We also have information there. We have our own benefits navigation team that is ready to support you with questions about your SNAP eligibility and food assistance as well. All of that information is updated regularly. It will also be on our social media pages, and it's there to help people get food quickly and with dignity. As SNAP changes roll out, more of our neighbors will need help. We ask the community to stay informed, to share these resources, and to support those organizations who are on the front lines. And again, FoodLink will continue to do everything we can to ensure that folks, SNAP recipients, who are eligible for SNAP benefits, continue to receive them, and for those who are in need of emergency food assistance, continue to receive it as well. I'd now like to call up my colleague, the president of Together Now, Laura Gustin, to talk about My Wayfinder.
Good morning, everyone. I'd just like to take a moment to thank Congressman Morelli, the County Executive Bello, and the Monroe County Department of Human Services, and Mayor Elvins for the partnership, to Food Link, Rochester Works, and all of our community partners for coming together around this important issue. For those who may not know us, Together Now is a local nonprofit focused on making it easier for people in our community to find the care, services, and opportunities they need. One of the ways that we do this is through My Wayfinder, a free online platform that connects residents to food, housing, employment services, training programs, healthcare, and other essential supports. And right now, clear information matters. Many SNAP recipients have questions. Does ABOT apply to me? Are my benefits at risk? And if I'm impacted, what is my plan? That's exactly why the SNAP Work Rule Screener exists. The SNAP Work Rule Screener can be found on the Monroe County ABOT website or on the My Wayfinder homepage at my-wayfinder.org. The screener takes about 2 minutes, requires no account creation, and does not collect personal identifying information. It is available in English and in Spanish and helps individuals quickly determine whether they qualify for work rules exemption, whether the documentation is needed, or if instead they must meet ABOT work requirements. And we're already seeing it make a difference. Since its launch, the SNAP Work Rule Screener has been used nearly 2,700 times. Of those who completed it, nearly 50% discovered that they were exempt from work requirements, providing immediate clarity and peace of mind. In addition, another 12% were directly connected to employment or job training supports at Rochester Works, or to volunteer opportunities that help meet requirements and maintain benefits. And today we're seeking to build upon that support. In continued partnership with Monroe County, we are launching a coordinated effort to expand volunteer work experience opportunities for SNAP recipients. Through My Wayfinder, we are creating a centralized portfolio of volunteer opportunities that help individuals meet ABOT work requirements, that provide meaningful community engagement, and when possible, connect people to long-term employment pathways. If you are a nonprofit organization or a government entity with volunteer opportunities that SNAP recipients could participate in, we invite you to register this opportunity in My Wayfinder. To do this, simply complete the ABOT volunteer opportunity form available on the Monroe County ABOT website or the Together Now website. Finally, I want to say this clearly. If someone does lose their SNAP benefits, they are not alone. My Wayfinder remains available to help individuals locate immediate food assistance, workforce programs, healthcare services, and other community supports. The goal is not just compliance, it's stability, access, and long-term well-being. If you receive SNAP, take a few minutes to ask yourself, do ABOT work rules apply to me? And if so, what is my plan? And if you're unsure, My Wayfinder and the SNAP Work Rule Screener are here to help you take the next step. With that, I'd like to invite Dave Seeley from Rochester Works.
Thank you, Laura. And Julia touched on this a little bit about the level of coordination. You know, the more you talk with colleagues across the state and country, you realize that we take this for granted, this level of cooperation here. This does not happen in other parts of the state and country. Other parts, the mayor and the county executive don't even talk in other parts of the state and the country, let alone loop in the workforce board to help with this effort. So we can't take that for granted, but we also need to put that into results. The role of Rochester Works is to ensure that our region's economy has a workforce that meets its needs. So some might argue, well, aren't these work requirements good? That's the glass is half full approach. And certainly, yes, we want to take this as an opportunity to put more people to work, as always. But I think the one thing we want to make sure people know is, and I'm not saying this is glass half empty, but a lot of people, and I think this is a perception or a narrative that's being pushed out of Washington, just because you receive food stamps and are not working does not mean you don't want to work, have not tried to work, have not been able to sustain work. And I think where we've come in and we're recognizing why this effort with Together Now, FoodLink, and the county, the city, is so important is for those people who have not entered the workforce and will now be needing to satisfy these work requirements, we need to be mindful of the fact that it's not just as simple as connecting them to an open position. We need to have interventions, resources available for them to help them on that journey, to intervene on those barriers to workforce participation. So our collaboration with Together Now helps us do that at Rochester Works. Our traffic was already up 22% last year. But we're thankful that we've been able to collaborate with My Wayfinder and the resources that provides to have additional capacity. So if someone is coming into our doors, wants a job, but also has very acute needs, very acute barriers to workforce participation that has kept them out of the workforce, we are able to help them with those social care needs. That's a model we continue to attempt to grow because we know it just isn't as simple as connecting to point A to point B. A lot needs to happen in the intermediary, and our goal is to make sure that any instance that could destabilize someone, we are there to help keep them on a positive trajectory. I want to emphasize a few points. First of all, if you're a job seeker, and Laura and Julia and everyone else correctly said, please go to the screener. However, if you are determined to be an ABOB and do not have an exemption, at the end of that screening process, it's going to give you two primary options. One is to connect you to www.greaterrockcareers.com. That is Rochester Works job board that we administer in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. It has thousands of vacant positions right now, some of which don't require any degree of educational training relevant to that occupation. It also has hundreds of part-time positions. We're mindful that not everyone who is an ABOB is going to need to have 20 hours a week. In some instances, it's going to be significantly less. So we want to make sure that we're providing a whole spectrum of opportunities for job seekers. The other thing, it will give you another option. That is, if you feel you want to work and have to work but are not ready perhaps to engage with employment, it will give you the opportunity to set up a meeting with one of our career advisors at Rochester Works. We're an agency that has over 800 collective years of experience helping this community find employment. We're here to help. Our service model is one that is adaptable to make sure we're meeting community needs. We did that during the Great Recession. We did that during COVID. We will do that now. We have a workforce of people, just like Julia has at FoodLink. Even when things get hard, we step up because we want to help our community. That is the call of the human service worker, to make sure that even when times aren't good, we're lifting our community up. I'm going to take off my Rochester Works hat very briefly and reinforce something. The Council of Agency Executives, I'm proud to serve as the board chair. We have over 150 members at the Council of Agency Executives. We need our nonprofit sector to step up and provide these volunteer opportunities. We should be in a position where we do not have a excess of demand versus supply in that regard. I know nonprofits have opportunities to help. In many instances, those are your customers, your clients, who are in jeopardy of losing their food assistance. So please provide those assistance, work with the portal that's been created. Local governments, as I think Laura said, eligible as well to provide these volunteer opportunities. I'm a former town supervisor. I can tell you there's opportunities to have your community members volunteer. If you're a local town official or a local, I'm not going to put the county on the spot, but if you're a town official, there's no reason why you can't be a part of this solution as well. So again, you can see this is a lot of pieces coming together to help, as the congressman said, ensuring that no one falls through the cracks. He set that mission for us to have the lowest level of people losing their food assistance due to these new work requirements in the country. I think we're on our way to do that, but now's really where the pedal hits the metal, and we have to really come together and work on behalf of those who are most vulnerable in our community. And with that, I'm happy to turn it back to County Executive Bello for any questions.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Dave. And I'll just underscore the fact that you know, one of the things I was just talking to the congressman about is there's a misconception out there, I think, that most people who receive food stamps aren't working. And that's just not true. Most people who are receiving food stamps and SNAP benefits in our community are either senior citizens, people with small children at home, or are working. And what we're really trying to do here is reach that small number of people who have been classified as an ABOD, who do not have an exemption who need to get a work or volunteer activity. And this one-stop shop that we've created through Together Now with our partners there who've done a fantastic job is doing two things. One is building that screener out, so if you know, you can go on there and find out whether or not you are an ABOT or not, so you can know whether or not you're subjected to these new rules. But then also, and as importantly, we'll connect you to those volunteer and work opportunities so that we can get you to work, get you to volunteer, and you can keep your SNAP benefits. So that's what this really is all about. So with that, anybody here can take any questions that you might have. Sure. I think it was great. Do you want to speak about the first town hall? Sure.
It went really well. We're hoping to get additional community members to come to the town halls that we have scheduled out, specific for a unique population. We were really targeting the Latino community. We had a translator there for the Department of Human Services, so we were really thankful to Ibero for that partnership, and we're looking for the continued partnership through other community-based organizations to be able to provide the information. Yes.
Have the other 10,000, are they all, are 14,000 able-bodied and they've already, the other 10,000 already done whatever they need to do, or why is it 4,000 up to 14?
Yeah, because it's on a cycle. So the 4,000 that are coming up right now, every 12 months, individuals have to recertify. So as of March 1st, we're targeting the first 4,000 in the cycle. Every month, the numbers will change depending on where the individual is around their recertification cycle with applying for SNAP. So right now we're targeting that 4,000 because now the clock starts, so we have 90 days to either get them exempt or to get them in a work or volunteer. If not, they're looking at 36 months of no SNAP going forward.
Can you talk a little bit about the process to prove that you are working? How labor-intensive is it for your team?
Yeah, well, it's new for us, right? Because New York State as a whole, except for one county, we've been exempt from ABOD, having to look for employment and volunteers. So again, we are so thankful. We've been planning around this for several months. So we've created what we call the ABOD team at Department of Human Services with a specific ABOD hotline number. We'll be tracking and learning as we go along. For the individuals, and it's the partnership, right, with the employees and the community-based organizations. Very simple, a form that New York State puts out to sign an attestation that really just confirms that the individual completed the work hours and the volunteer. For a medical exemption, also pretty simple, not a whole bunch of medical records. You just have to have a physician sign an attestation, really attesting that the individual is not employable. And then there's the other exemptions that we would just have to prove. For example, if you're caring for an older adult, if you're over a certain age and you're doing work part-time, a lot of the individuals that we're targeted, we think that they may already qualify for exemption. We just need to ensure that they follow through once they get the letter that the county exec spoke of. In addition to that, they'll be required to do an online informational. So we're going to do that as well. That information will be in the letter. We'll be doing an in-person, and then we'll be doing a recorded that anyone could watch that informational going forward.
Has anybody done it yet?
No, not as
Do you
yet.
have anybody who's able-bodied and signed all the paperwork?
Yes. We started off at about 6,000 plus. So we're down to 4,000 at this point. The screener has been tremendous. We can't thank Together Now for the partnership there, as well as being able to have this repository, right? Like this one-stop shop where individuals can locate employment and volunteer. So again, I just echo, everyone that went before me we're really leaning on our community at this point, community-based organizations, employers. If you have these opportunities, please go into the My Wayfinder, upload that. So simple, nice little QR code made of very low barriers so you could connect. And as individuals continue to come up for recertifications, we will just continue to repeat this process.
It was mentioned that Monroe County at least has thousands of job positions open right now. Adam, are you confident that right now that's enough to handle what could come down the pipeline?
Well, we put a call out today, too, to our nonprofit organizations here to get more volunteer opportunities because we want to make sure that that's the case. Because at the end of the day, you also have to match people who are looking for work with jobs that they're able to take, right? And so you might have more jobs out there than people, but they have to be the right alignment. And so really that's why this Together Now screener is so important, because we get as many volunteer and job opportunities on that screener as possible. That will help empower people to be able to take a job or a volunteer opportunity that they're able to take, because that's an important piece of it as well. And Jennifer, to your question earlier too, just to be clear on what those numbers are, and this is also why the screener is so important, and I really do encourage everyone to get to monroecounty.gov, is that, when we talk about the numbers, over 100,000 people on SNAP, I'm going to give you just sort of round, numbers, estimates. Over 100,000 are on SNAP. You bring that down, of those, just over 50,000 of them, we believe are ABODs, right? And then of those ABODs, about 14,000 of them, we don't have a record of an exemption for them. Of those 14,000, just over 4,000, their start date of when they have to start complying in their 3-month period is next week. So that's why you take them almost in concentric circles here, and also by when the rolling deadline is going to be. And when you hit your deadline, so those first over 4,000 people that we don't know if there's an exemption, some of them probably do have an exemption, and we found that out through the screener, right? So when they went onto the screener, people who have gone on there thinking they might not have an exemption actually do. Other people are going onto the screener, finding out they do not have an exemption, and are being connected to work and volunteer opportunities, and that's fantastic, right? So we're getting people connected to work, or we're getting them the information they need to apply for that exemption. But it's critical for especially those 4,000 people to get online and figure out where you are in that and get the help that you need, because you have a 3-month period to get that work or volunteer opportunity. Otherwise, you could be subjected to a 36-month waiting period before you can become eligible again. So that is a 3-year essential penalty for not getting something within the first 3 months. So we need to make sure all those 4,000 people are reached. So we're doing it several different ways, through obviously the media and the press conference today, the town hall meetings, and also through the mail. So we're trying to hit everybody through every which way we can. But we, like as the mayor said, we could really use the help of the community to reach out to friends, family, neighbors, and help spread this information. Is that helpful? All right. Yeah.
Concerned people say, well, I'm gonna take a job, but then I might not qualify for SNAP anymore, right? So how do you, are these jobs, how do you address that, I guess?
Would that be a good
Do you want-
problem to have?
It would be, well, no. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's just the state requirements, right? So it's not
Yeah.
like the specific income coming in, right? That's going to offset their SNAP benefits or any other temporary assistance benefits. So the requirement will be to complete the 20 hours volunteer work. The attestation will prove that, and then that will keep individuals eligible for their SNAP benefits going forward.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks. What's that? I'm sorry?
Do you have enough volunteer opportunities right now? Do you have
There are volunteer opportunities on there. Yep. So if people are looking, if you go and do the screener and you do not have an exemption, if you go through that, even if you don't do the screener, you can go to the Together Now
I
app.
would say we are really looking to, if there's not
But we need
a lot
more.
on there, right?
No.
We really are looking for
We need more.
dozens and dozens. We're really looking to build that out right now, so.
You have 14,000 people that might need volunteer hours. You're not-
Or a job over the next year. Yep.
You don't have that right now.
No.
No, and so,
No.
like I said, anything, if any government, or, if you're a school district, if you're a nonprofit, if you're a town, any nonprofit or government entity might have volunteer opportunities,
Should hear you.
please let us know. I think that's really the next phase of this. We really focused the last 3 months on let's get as many people exempt as we can to make the pool smaller. Now we have a small pool, and now we really need to work together to try to get them either employed or volunteer opportunities so they can keep the benefit, and that really requires government entities and nonprofits to open up those opportunities.
Cool. Yes. 20.
Up to 20.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.